All right, JMTV show 180. GMTV 180. Oh, I forgot to push the button. Eventually, we're going to figure out how this works. I don't know. It's the formerly the show is. Can you hear me now?
We
now we got that.
The show's a Verizon commercial. That's what we've become. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me
remember
now?
that? You remember that? The phones didn't work.
Yeah.
And so everybody was going, "Can you hear me now?" And they turned it into a feature. Like,
brilliant,
oh, you're
actually.
on Verizon, so we could hear. No, Verizon didn't work. And JMTV definitely doesn't work. So good to see you guys.
That's right. I can't even see you now, man.
Nothing has
I don't think I want to see you.
Nothing has changed,
Yeah, that's true. That's
How you
true.
guys doing?
Technology. I'm all right. I'm okay. I'd give myself a B.
A B? Okay.
B, maybe a B minus. Not my best day, but not my worst day.
A B for Boston and a C for California.
Exactly.
Oh,
And I've got an A, which stands for something we will not discuss.
Oh my! You must have had an interesting day.
Oh my God. So so it's been nasty on the East Coast. My God, blowing and
like
rainy
buckets.
and miserable. Yeah.
Yeah, really nasty
I
bucket
had
stuff has
that.
been washing.
Explain to me, please. What is going on? Do you have a storm?
Heavy
We
rain,
had a
rain, and rain.
rain, wind, and that.
And then people, I don't know whether you did in your area, Ed, but like New Hampshire and Vermont, suddenly the ski season has like another month to go.
Yeah, they got like 3 feet of
dumped.
snow, like 2 or 3 feet of snow. You know,
we're like, oh, this is great.
spring storm. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Ski in your shorts.
My local ski area was already struggling on the beginning of March. Like there were a couple of 3 60-degree days, and the ski area is like, today with the ski now, And so but everything up north, I mean, they've got the best conditions of the season right now. So.
Yeah. And they have so many, all these, I was going to say snow blowers, but I don't think that's what I meant.
Snowmakers.
Snowmakers, thank you.
Right.
When I was a kid, a snowmaker was like a big novelty. It was like, the mountain has one snowmaker. Oh, they're modern,
Look,
and now
they're good.
like,
They're good at that
they've got
now.
like 50 of them,
They figured all that out now. They're really, really good. They put, and this is what worries me, okay? Because a mountain is big, right? Bigger than you think. Like it's big. Like like every 100 yards of mountain has like 1 billion gallons of water that made the snow. Whatever. Nature is amazingly powerful, and the snowmakers, like they add stuff to the water to make the snow crystallize a certain way. What's that going into the groundwater? What's that going into the streams? And
strange green algae is starting to appear on Lake Winnipesaukee,
or no algae ever. And the lobster crop dies off, and
and the fish.
Yeah, right. Like what are they putting? Yeah, I don't know. They're like, oh no, it's just all natural chemicals. It's like, plutonium is natural too.
Makes me think of the classic Army way of fishing, which is to lob a grenade.
Right. So, and plus, where I go skiing, where I normally go skiing, my local ski area is the former Action Park, which was called Class Action Park for a long time because there were so many injuries and so many lawsuits. And I swear to you, like I went to Class Action Park, to Action Park. I don't know if you guys remember Action Park.
I don't, but man, I can't wait to look up a documentary on it. There's got to be something.
Oh no, there is
YouTube.
a whole documentary about it, about these like Wall Street, venture capital guys that are like, I don't know, we could buy this mountain and let's have,
we'll put in these things. Yeah, and then hire a corner mechanic to put together the snow.
They would just dream up the rides. They'd be like, it was a water park, right? So they had this ride for a while that was a loop to loop. So you're in a tube, like it's like 6 feet across, whatever. You're in the tube, and the only way that you're not scraping all of the skin off your body is if the water is running down the tube, right? Like, so they have the water going in, and you jump in and you go down and whatever. But there's seams, and you're like hurting, you're breaking little pieces off your bones as you're going over these things. And then the loop to loop, though, the water doesn't go around the loop.
My God.
They built a loop which is like 20 feet, right? And so what would happen is you would hit this thing. It was not built by any kind of engineer. You would hit the loop. You'd go halfway up the loop, maybe get near the top, scrape all the skin off your body, and then you would slow down and fall and hit the top of the loop and slide down and drop 15 feet down. It was... And I swear to you, I went to Action Park and I was like, I'm the guy who's like, I'm doing the loop to loop. And I did the loop to loop. And my friends had to like help me to the car. Like, I really thought I might have to go to the hospital. It was really.
Yeah.
And nothing went wrong. That was like a perfect run.
Wow.
Well, you know it's a dangerous amusement park when they have an ambulance on standby on the premises. That's
They
just a bad
have.
sign.
No. They have an ambulance helicopter.
Oh my!
They have it now. It's like they built an ambulance helicopter station at the bottom of the mountain, which is where Action Park was, because there were so many injuries. They're like, we'll just keep that. We'll just keep the ambulance helicopter here.
That's like major trauma stuff.
And the document, you got to watch the documentary. Go on, it's on YouTube or something. You can watch it. Action Park, and they talk about it, and they basically just recruited every high school kid that wanted a job to be security and what. So it was run by a bunch of kids, and they didn't discuss. This was the 70s, right? And 70s. They didn't discourage like drinking among the kids. So it was a giant group of drunk high schoolers running Action Park.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Anyway, that's where I go skiing now at Class Action Park.
Class Action Park. I wonder if is the ski area as dangerous as the amusement park was?
Well, some of it maybe. It's different people. You know, I don't know who went to jail or whatever, but it was over. It's like now it's back to normal.
It's like Stu Leonard's. Yeah, it's like he just disappeared, but the name remained the same.
Don't get me started on the Stu Leonard's crap, because I was a loyal Stu Leonard's customer when they pulled that crap, and then they're like, all right, Grandpa, you get to go to jail so we can all
we'll
stay
take
out.
Over. Yeah,
we will stay out. You go to prison, and we will bring you cakes. You know,
Grandpa is the fall guy. It's just not. It sounds like a bad folk song. Grandpa was the fall guy, and
it sounds good to me. Write it.
Yeah. But he sounded so great on the ads. Hey, I'm Stu Leonard's, and hey, check this out. When you make this noise, all these turkeys gobble.
So, do you know about this, Dave Robinson? You know about Stu Leonard's?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, and I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what they did? Do you know the bad things?
Please refresh my memory, because I heard something.
Well, okay, so they had this really cool thing, right? It was it's something, the banks have it. It's like a system of tubes that run into the ceiling. And so there's like a thing that comes down, and it's got this little, like a thing in it, and you open it and you put stuff in it, and then you put it in the tube, and it goes very 1950s kind of like,
sure. Exactly.
And so they had this system so that they didn't have to walk the cash through the store. They had this system where the cashiers would take the money out and put it in the tube, and it would go up into the ceiling and over and down into the counting room where the accountants and the auditors would sit, right?
Okay.
And then they would count all the money up and whatever, and then would check it against the register receipts, and that's what they did, right? Mm-hmm. Except there was another room. It wasn't the counting room. It went to a room, and they opened it up, and they took most of the money out, and then they put the money back in, and then they rigged the computer software so that it would change the value, and then the thing would arrive, and the accountant would count it and go, oh, it's all here, and it matches the receipt, even though they monkeyed it. And they did tax evasion to the tune of like zillions of dollars. Zillions.
Yeah.
And apparently they were super mean to their employees. Some of their employees were mean, and they had a guy working security there who'd been there forever, and they got rid of him, and they didn't give him a severance pay, whatever. He was mad, whatever. So he told on them. Like they all knew it. They were all complicit.
Yeah.
And so and then and they had a private jet, the family. Stu Leonard's family. They had a
Wow.
private jet, and they would fly the money down to the Bahamas and to the Cayman Islands, whatever.
To launder it.
And so there are videos of them like carrying bags of money on their plane, you know, and
You gotta be kidding me.
no,
This
they
is
did all that.
incredible.
And then, you ready for this? This is the other thing that they did. They, you know, when you go into a store, and they always had really like pretty decent prices. Like it was high quality produce and meats and whatever. And the prices were not bad. Like they were kind of the prices at the grocery store, a little more, but not double. You know, it's not like Whole Foods, like, oh,
was
you
gonna
want
say.
an apple? It's $9.
Yeah.
You know, you want the apple? Oh, you can take the one with chemicals, or you can buy the nice one for $9. But they rigged the scales so that a pound wasn't a pound. A pound was like 0.8.
Oh
So
no.
you,
Yeah,
oh my
so
God.
they gave you a 20. They gave you like a pretty decent price, but then they ripped you off on the weight, which is a major crime. You're not allowed to do that.
That's right. All those weights are like regulated now. I bet they weren't. Yeah.
God.
It was regulated then. They were just crafty sons of bitches, you know.
Wow. Wow.
And
But
so
they had a-
the feds came in, the locals came in, they grabbed them, and they're like, that's it. And then so I used to shop there. I was like, that's my local great place. I would go there. And I remember like a week and 10 days went by, and we were all like, God, I miss going to Stu Leonard's, but those sons of bitches, they didn't just steal from the taxes, they stole from me. Like you
Right.
know, every 10th apple was, every 8th apple was, you know, they were ripping me off.
counted as a ninth.
Right. And so I was like, damn, you know, these guys. And then like 2 weeks later, everybody's like, screw it. And they went back to Stu Leonard. So they like rewarded them. They made more money than ever. So
It was a good place. I mean, they had it from as a consumer, they seemed like it were a good place, you know. And as a marketer, I had to, you know, admire them. They were the first supermarket chain, actually one of the first of any companies to have a consumer focus group panel that would
Right.
like meet every week and discuss like what's going on and what the customers want and this kind of thing. And nobody did that. Nobody ever asked the customers anything. They'd just be
no,
like,
they
"Oh,
were
after
they
you,
were a
you
bunch of
just
creeps. They
Smoke
were
the
like,
cigarette, buy the soap, and shut
it
up.
wasn't like, oh, there was this one guy or this one accountant who was skimming money from the
Right,
till. It's like, it wasn't like that.
This
You
was
know, there was a speaking of financial crime, there was a club. There was a club in in Norotan Heights. It was the VFW in Norotan Heights. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this,
Yeah.
but this is the truth. It's just the truth. And I used to play in a band, and the bookkeeper from the place, I can't remember her name, but the bookkeeper came to us and said, "Look, we've had a benefactor donate the money to pay the band for a series of fundraisers, and we're going to do these like once a month or every 6 weeks or whatever it is. And so through the year, you're going to come in and you're going to play. It was a good band, and we're you know, we're going to pay you cash under the table. Don't say on the microphone that you're getting paid. Act like you're donating your time, you know, because then people will want to donate more. Like, oh, you guys donated your time. So, and we were like, okay, like you're going to pay us. They gave us like $200 a man for the gig. It was like a really good paying gig.
Yeah.
And it was like $800 for a 4-piece band, and we put on a really great show. We brought a lot of our fans in, and the you know, the head of the whatever, not the Commodore, but the, you know, that guy, the head guy would come over.
Right.
Like, thank you
The
so
admiral
much
or
for
whatever.
donating your time. We're like, he's not in on it, like you know, he doesn't know, like, and so this goes on for a year or two, you know, and we're playing all these gigs, and we're like, we'll play whatever idiot game they want to play. They're going to hand us the money to play,
Yeah.
and then they're going to. So we're like, fine, you know, if they want to live in that pipe dream, whatever. And then it turns out that the bookkeeper had skimmed $800,000 of donation money from the VFW.
Wow.
I'm not making that number. It might have been 900,000. It was something like that.
That's an evil amount of money.
And over the course of years, so what would happen is people would donate money, and she's the bookkeeper, so she would open the envelope and go,
Yeah.
a little bit for this, and a little bit for me, and a little bit for my son, and a little bit for my daughter, and a little bit, and they would all go into the different bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
And they got her. right? And she was so guilty that she was the benefactor who paid us out of her pocket for all these fundraisers because she wanted to get more money coming in for fundraisers so she could skim, take like half of it or more.
So she was basically she was like the evil person in the background.
Can you believe
behind
this?
The curtain,
right. So you donate money. You donate your $10 to the VFW to help some veteran who to get food aid or build a wheelchair ramp or whatever it is, right? And like the veteran would get $1, and then they would get $4, and the veteran would go, "Thank you so much for the money. We really appreciate it." They wouldn't say how much. It was all a little. Yeah. But then it came out, so you got all this. It's like, I'm just mad I haven't thought of this. I haven't,
Right. Well, it reminds me of I'm calling on behalf of the Police Athletic League in order to ask for your donation to support your local law enforcement. And it's a separate company. It's never your local police department union. And
it's the local police department, Inc.
Yeah, Inc. And,
Wait,
and these guys, and they give, pennies on the dollar to police unions, and it's all just going to them. It's,
charity. So meanwhile, if anybody wants to donate for cat food,
that's right.
Send me the money.
Food, yeah. And what was those 20 cats in that photograph that you put out the other day?
Yeah, I'll put that up shortly.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. So why don't you play us a song? Get us out of these conversations of hijinks.
Okay, you mean me or somebody else?
Yeah, you sound good. Norman's still broken, so
Yeah, that's right. Broken Norman. Oh man,
Norman's in the shop. No, actually, he's not in the shop tonight. He is broken in more ways than one, but he's having cousins from out of town come in, and they have a big cousins dinner, so he's hanging out with doing that, and I hope he's well.
Yeah,
we'll see him very soon. So do a song for us, Wilbur.
That'll be cool. All right, so this is Because the Night by Bruce Springsteen and Patti Smith. Not necessarily in that order.
Very nice.
Thank
Very
you.
nice, man. That was smooth.
I love taking these. I take all these rock and roll tunes and then do them in a sort of acoustic way. But
I
always
love that.
wonder
Yeah,
if I
it
ever
was-
run into like someone like Bruce Springsteen, if you're ever going to say, "I heard what you did to my song and it sucks," you turned into some fairy piece of crap.
He looks like Woody Allen now. Have you seen Bruce Springsteen? Old Bruce Springsteen.
He's
Yeah.
he's we're all getting older. Yeah.
I'm gonna look like I'm wearing my glasses now more and more. So I'm like, I guess I'm gonna look like Woody Allen in about a year.
If I put on, I have a pair of black glasses that make me look like Martin Scorsese. I know that sounds impossible, but I'll bring them on the show next week. And they literally, and I'm like, we're gonna do a movie. It's gonna be a great movie. It's gonna have Bobby in it, and it's gonna have Joey in it, and it's gonna be a really,
You know what's
really good
funny?
movie.
What's funny is there was someone I saw somebody on a reel or something the other day on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and I was like, that guy looks like Will Baird. It was somebody famous. I got to remember who it is. I almost texted it to you, but I forgot.
Oh, bummer.
I'll remember who it is. I was like, that guy looks kind of like Will Baird. Like the doppelganger thing.
That'd be great. I'd be like, oh yeah, actually that guy is a pedophile. He was in jail for
great.
like 20 years.
No, you know
He
who
used to
looks
say he
like
looked like me.
Martin Scorsese is Ray Simonelli. Looks like Martin Scorsese. He's got
Oh, my God.
the bushy eyebrows and the
He's
white hair.
got,
It's like
he's got a little bit of that, yeah.
pretty close.
Ray is he's
Nolman
he's
looks
Ray.
like who's the actor? Bryan Cranston from Breaking
Oh, he
Bad.
does look like Bryan
He
Cranston.
kind of
It's
looks
true.
like Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
He just got that. It's not just the look, but you got to have a little bit of the attitude or the mannerism or whatever. That goes a long way. And
Yeah,
he's a
and
little bit like that character.
He's got it. Yeah, he's definitely got it. Boy, what an amazing show that was, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
The problem is, all right, so here's the good news, right? There's good news and bad news. The bad news is the shows end, and especially if you're binge watching them over like a month or two,
Yeah,
and you're watching them, you see them every day, or looking at these people, they become like your inner circle of friends. Like even The Sopranos, you're like, oh, I know a lot about I know more about them than I know about anybody I really know, right? Which has gotta, it's true, in your brain. And but then it's over. Like they kill them off and they die and they go to jail or whatever the hell happened. They disappear or whatever happens to them on the show, and it's like you're kind of mourning them. Like, oh, I miss. Look at The Sopranos. Like, I miss that guy. They whacked him, and they you were part of it. You got to see it happen. Or on Breaking Bad, when Breaking Bad ended, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like
What?
it's over now. Like they're gone. The good news, that's the bad news. The good news is that my memory is not as good as it used to be. So like if I just wait another year, I'd be like, I wonder what this show is about. You can watch Breaking Bad and be like, I don't remember what happens in the next episode,
Not only that, but there's something comforting about going, oh yeah, he shoots him in the head. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, but you don't really remember. Like you're watching, like I watched some old Sopranos. I've seen Sopranos a bunch. I've binge watched the whole series.
Started to watch it.
But I'll watch, or like another one that I love is Battlestar Galactica. Not the 1970s one with Lorne Green. Not that one. They made a new Battlestar Galactica, right? And we are now living through Battlestar Galactica. Like Battlestar Galactica was about the robots the Cylons that people made to help them do things and make their life easier and whatever. They were AI robots, and turn on YouTube and type in AI robot, and you're going to see that we're building Cylons now. Elon Musk is building Cylons. Everybody's building, and they're putting these AIs in them that the ones that we have available to us are scary, let alone what they have in the labs that they're like, ooh, we can't release that. We're all going to go to prison,
Yeah.
And they're putting in these robots. But anyway, so that's what Battlestar Galactica was. And then the robots fight back and rise up. And, it was, and the show, whatever they did it in the 90s, or maybe it was the early 2000s. And I swear to you, like, the quality of the production is like the original Star Wars movie. Like, all of a sudden, they could do all these special
pretty good.
effects that were like better than Star Wars on a TV show, and the characters are good, and the writing was incredible, and it was like, and I've seen it a few times, and now I'm like, I can't wait to forget so I can go back and watch it again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. All I can think, the last the last science fiction movie or show that I watched was Star Trek. I'll never be able to grow beyond Star Trek.
The original Star Trek? The original one.
Yeah, with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy.
What about Picard? Can you do Picard or really?
Picard I can. Yes, I never watched any episodes.
I watched it,
like,
but it's not the same. Like even later on in Star Trek when they started to get bigger budgets, because the original Star Trek was like, all right, we're going to shoot this wearing T-shirts with a pin,
right.
and you're going to stand against that
doors.
gray wall and do your scene. Like it's like nothing to it. We're going to take you out to Malibu in the mountains, and we're going to film you fighting some monster who's a guy in a rubber suit.
Yeah, exactly. I miss Kirk's acting, William Shatner.
He's still doing it.
Do this.
He's still doing it.
He's
doing a live show. I just got an ad for a live show that he's doing called "You Can Call Me Bill," and it's coming to Stamford, Connecticut, or whatever. And you could go see William Shatner at 112 or whatever. He went to space. Did you hear about that? He went to space.
Oh, he did. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He took the
with
shuttle
what's his name? Or what's his name? Did he go to did Bezos? Jeff Bezos. Did he go to space? Yeah, he went too. Right?
Did go.
He went with William Shatner on the same bus,
I can use the AI on my iPhone to find out for you if you'd like.
No, he did it. He did. Bezos, I think, was on that flight because he's high fiving William Shatner. Like, this is so great. William Shatner got back down to earth and did an interview saying it was the most frightening experience of his life. He hated it. He felt lonely and awful. Like he totally just ruined it.
Oh man, that's.
And then Bezos is like, "All right, ixnay on the space nay,"
Don't talk about that, please.
Don't do it anymore.
Wow, that's way more than flying first class on the Concorde.
Which I got to do actually.
You did that?
Yeah, I got to fly on the Concorde. Yeah,
before or after it blew up?
Yeah, but after, right? After, in my imagination. No, actually, my Concorde story is that I used to work for an airline at Kennedy Airport when I was in college. When I was like between junior and senior year in college, I worked for an airline. My father used to be in the business, so he hooked me up with somebody who gave me a job doing like passenger service, like "Welcome to New York," right this way. I was like a ground rep,
greeter.
And one night. We worked out. We were a charter airline. We were like the worst. Like our planes were breaking all the time, and the schedule was terrible or whatever. And so we had a few planes, 2 747s and a DC-8. That was it, right? Mm-hmm. And we did the tour operators to Europe. So 500 people would show up and they're going on Perillo tours, and Perillo would be there, and we would fly them to Italy, and then the Italian people would fly back, and they would welcome to America, and they would have tours, right? So that's what we did.
Wow.
And but one night we got word the arrival was supposed to come in at 10 or 9 or whatever, and the flight was delayed, and it was coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning. It had a late departure, so we did not like we had a big airline. We had like our staff of people to meet flights was like, we were like 6 of us. It's like, and so they're like, it's like, you're not calling anybody at midnight, come to work. My shift is over. My union said, no, there's no union. And so we had to wait around. So we were working out of the British Airways terminal where the Concorde was sitting right there. It was like sitting there because at 11 in the morning it left every day to go to England, and then it came back and it sat overnight. And so I knew of all the security guards because we're airline employees
all the time. Yeah.
And there was this guy, and I was like, "Hey," I don't remember his name, but he was like, "Hey, how you doing? What are you doing?" I said, "I'm gonna go take a look at the Concorde." He's like, "Okay."
Okay, sure.
It was
you
like
want me to come with you, or you want to
it was
just
like
go
1985 or 84, 85, right? And like Prince, Prince was on the Purple Rain was on the radio in those days, and we're like sitting around, and we were just bored. So I walked outside, I walked up the air stair to the jetway, and opened it up, and then the door was closed. Right, and I'm like, but there's no lock. Like planes don't have a key to get in, right? There's just like and the Concorde is fast, so they make everything like there's no rivets or anything. Like everything is right there. It's all very, very streamlined.
Perfectly.
And so there was a little hole, and it said push. It was like this big, like size of your finger, right? And you're like, push, and then you like push the metal thing in, and a handle popped out. Boop. And then like, okay. And then you move the handle, and the door is on hydraulics or pneumatics or whatever, and it goes, it comes out at you and then moves aside, right? Whoa. And so I was like, oh, shit, somebody's gonna hear me, right? But who's gonna hear me? It's 3:00 in the morning, you know. I can't hear.
And you're in a dark jetway,
right? And so I walked in. And I looked around.
Was there like a light switch on the wall?
No, it was kind of dark, but lights were coming in the window. The windows are small; they're only about like this big, and so the windows are small, and lights are coming in. I could see well enough, and then there were some bright lights from the terminal on the airplane, you know, for PR purposes or whatever. And so I walked to the back of the airplane, and the airplane's actually very small. The Concorde is not big. It's like. It's kind of the smallest plane you've ever been on. Like if you ever went on like an old MD-80 or DC-9, that was way bigger than the Concorde.
Really?
Yeah.
And how many people would you guess it sat?
100 people, and it's 4 across, but it's the width of the seats are like economy size seats width. They have leg room, but they're narrow. So you have 2 seats, and the aisle is like this wide. The aisle is really, really narrow. And so you have 2 seats, and if you're sitting in the outer seat, the curve is like this. Like you're like, right? And the skin of the airplane gets warm from compression and friction, whatever it is. And so the outside of the plane, like it's like 80 degrees, like, and it's right here. It's not. I had an aisle seat, you know, but so when I went in the cockpit. And I was a pilot, right? I learned to fly when I was 14 years old. So I went in the cockpit, and I'm like, I can figure out how to turn some stuff on, right? So I circuit breakers, right? So I turned around, I started flipping some lights on and some avionics on and whatever. And then I just sat there, you know, it just sat there in the cockpit for like a half an hour or more, just drinking it in, like sat in the captain's seat, like looking around, like,
so this is what it's like.
This is cool, you know, and the handlebars, the yoke that you steer the airplane with, normally they're U-shaped, you know, like this, kind of 747. On the Concorde, it's like a chopper, like a motorcycle. They come up, and then they have handles that go like this. So they're like monkey hangers, you know, like those guys, you know, right? It's like it does. Look it up on Google. Like they go up, and then there's a handle like this, right? Wow. And anyway, enough time on that. But it was kind of fun to see the Concorde. Then a few years later, I was in the aviation business, and my company paid for a ticket, and I made all this money. You know, I spent all this money on Concorde. You know,
so you actually flew on it, which is why you knew. Now, I assume that they made it the passenger space small because they needed like 5 times as much space for all of the gasoline that it was using. Or
absolutely. I mean, you know,
like
this.
It's a flying gas tank, basically.
It's not a big airplane. It's a pretty small. It's a little tiny airplane. It looks big because of the wings or whatever, but the fuselage is very, very small. And but it's the coolest thing ever. You know, it's the supersonic. You know, you get the chance to go supersonic over the ocean. And it's
that
cool
is
experience.
Cool. Like England in 3 hours or whatever.
And you're way up high. You're like you're not at the edge of space. Oh, you're at the edge, but the sky isn't blue anymore. Like the sky gets kind of black.
Ooh.
And you can see, like, if you look out at the horizon, it looks. It's not like this. It's like this. It's round. You know, like you're high enough where you're like,
That's
oh,
cool.
it's a round planet. You know.
Wow. It's a lot less expensive than William Shatner, you know, taking a jet. I mean, or whatever.
William Shatner like didn't pay a penny for that. You know, like, it's $300,000 or you're William Shatner. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Or your endorsement. It was the greatest ride I ever had.
Right.
Without barfing.
But he didn't say it. Like you would think if you were Jeff Bezos, you would be like, I want William Shatner to come down from this space flight and read a script that says, you know, from here to tomorrow, whatever it is, right? You know, they write some amazing Captain Kirk script and he would read it. And instead he comes out and he's like, I felt lonely and depressed, insignificant, and I hated it, and I was scared, and I'm like, they like broke William Shatner. You know.
Oh man, poor guy. Well, it's still he's got Rocket Man to his credit, so he's still got that recording. He can
Right.
point
Oh,
to
Rocket Man, William Shatner. Yeah. But
This morning,
whatever.
3 a.m.
Aviation, yeah, I miss all that. My father was in the aviation business, so I worked in the aviation business later in my career. I was in television, and then I went into aviation finance, and the industry it always got sold with a lot of sizzle, like Chuck Yeager out at Edwards Air Force Base, like breaking the speed of sound, and like. The aviation and the stewardesses. My mother was an airline hostess back when they were airline hostesses, where they were hot chicks and in cool outfits with little hats and they weren't mean to you.
Right.
Here's your friggin' peanut. Shut up. Sit down.
But the trip to Hawaii is the worst. I'll tell you that. I think the flight attendants, if they once they've reached a certain level of seniority, they get to pick where they go, and I think they pick Hawaii because it's a long trip. So everybody goes to sleep and they don't have to do anything.
And you're in Hawaii when you get there. My mother was the chief airline hostess for her airline, which is so she could pick, it's a seniority system. You can pick whatever flight you want. You can work as much or as little and pick your flights. And my mother met my father on a blind date on a layover in Hawaii, in Honolulu.
That's great. That's very cool. Very, very cool.
And my father was an Air Force cargo guy, and he was flying things, some stuff to a secret war. He always used to say, "Oh, I was flying things to the secret war off the coast of China." And I'm like, "What secret war? That's not in the news." And he's like, "Yeah, it's not in the news. It's a CIA war that happened on the islands between China and Taiwan. So that war is still going today."
Yeah. God Almighty.
But
there's probably all sorts of. There's probably like 100 little tiny conflicts like that all over the world that we're involved in that we don't know about. They're all like CIA controlled and.
No, they tell you about it. They tell you. They're like, first of all, the U.S. military is freaking everywhere. We are everywhere. They're like Diego Garcia. Like, we have a big base in Diego Garcia, and you're like, is that near New Orleans? Like, like.
Isn't that a kid's game?
It's in the middle of the Indian Ocean, in the middle of freaking nowhere. We're there.
Yeah.
And they're working every day. They're out working, doing stuff every day.
Flying around.
Right, doing stuff.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me that people think like, oh, well, we have this volunteer army, and they're just out practicing every day, like, just in case. It's the Department of Defense. We're not actually doing anything. We're just like training and whatnot. It's like, yeah, we're kind of doing stuff every day.
We actually are doing things.
We're doing stuff. I heard today there's some talk. This is way off the beaten path. I'm a bit of a news hound. Like I watch. I don't like narrative news. I don't want news like, and now we're going to give you 12 stories why Joe Biden's an idiot, and we're going to give you 12 stories on why Donald Trump is awesome, or what. It's like, I'm not interested in that. Yeah. But I do stay in touch with like what's going on in the world and where things are going as much as you reasonably can do it. And there's a talk where Venezuela might attack their neighbor Guyana, I guess it is. And try to steal their oil, whatever. And I watched a story on that today. Like there might be a war. And I watched another one about like two African countries that are like going at each other. But it doesn't make the news. Like Americans don't care. It's like
it's not big enough. In Boston, all the news here is it's all about car crashes, murders, stabbings, and fires. There you go. There's no politics or
keep people drunk and fed and in the gossip, and they won't rebel.
That's a good point. That's right. In other words, send them to the Irish bar and down the street, and they'll be happy. Hey, Dave, number 2.
How you doing, Dave Lapp?
Good. You?
Doing okay.
That guitar over your shoulder looks.
Oh, turn your speaker down. Turn your radio down, listener. We hear a lot of feedback.
Yeah, you know why? Because the damn tripod was pinning the volume button.
There it is.
There
it is.
Is that better?
Nice and clean.
That's better.
Yep.
That's good.
The guitar over your shoulder is No, we can still hear it actually. Either that or I'm calling.
Can you plug a headphone into that because it's really echoing? Or go into your audio settings down at the bottom of the screen and pick audio, and there's an echo cancellation button. That should take care of it. So I'll mute you for a second while you do that. But yeah, so what were we talking about? The news, anyway. Boring.
Oh, yeah, and not thereof. Yeah, and I was about to say something really inappropriate about a certain type of bar. And I'm so glad that we got cut off and that Dave came on board.
What's Dave doing? Dave's doing something. Something's going on over there.
I have to tell you, Ed, I think, I'm seeing what you've said, like that we really are international, because I'm getting these things. I'm starting to get more and more friend requests on Facebook from these women from overseas, primarily Czechoslovakia and like I think Korea. And they, but when I go to check out their profile before I answer them, there's usually almost nothing there except for a very like scantily clad, overly made up, overly airbrushed.
Those are not real people.
Really? Okay.
No, those are. Oh, Dave Platt. He's gone. He'll be back. No, those are not real people. Those are fake people. It's actually probably an AI or a bot.
I thought they were just nice ladies.
No. The nicer they look, the more suspicious you should be.
Well, it's the airbrushing that makes it look especially weird. It's just something about it that's like, what's wrong?
I'll send you some airbrush pictures. Don't worry. Yeah. How's that, Dave? How do you?
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah.
Yay! He fixed it.
Yep. It's my waterproof phone case. I had to take the phone out of the case.
Wow.
I lived on a boat for 20 years, and I destroyed my iPhone 3, my 3GS, my 4, my 5, my next 5, my whatever. Like before they were even like in the olden days, they didn't claim they were waterproof at all. Like now they say, oh, they're waterproof to this spec, meaning they're not waterproof.
1 foot underwater, right. for a split second.
I can't tell you how many iPhones I watched. Like I'm getting out of the inflatable onto the boat, and I watched the phone sinking with the light on, and then the light stays on. It's sitting on the bottom, and it flickers and goes out. Like I can't tell you how many phones I lost.
No. Yeah, I think the worst incident was I was skimming out my little fish pond outside, and the phone came right out of my shirt pocket, right into the fish pond, right to the bottom. Yeah, the light turns on, floats down to the bottom. It survives, but my boss buys me these phones, so I got to take good care of them.
Yeah, right, exactly. So now the phones are like, oh, they're waterproof, but you still get an OtterBox, and you put it in the OtterBox, and you get the waterproof phone to the mil-spec whatever rating, and it starts raining, and then the phone charger can't work because of water detectors. Come on now.
Yeah.
So how you been doing, Dave?
Good. Keeping busy. Keep busy yourself.
That's good. Doing okay. Trying to stay dry mostly.
Yeah, I hear that. I got trying to work on my boat, and I do not have good weather. I have some fiberglass work I want to do, and that's not happening probably for another week.
Yeah.
You got to. It's going to be nice. Next week we're going to be like, spring is going to arrive next week. So.
Well, I just finished reading or rereading A Perfect Storm. You remember this? It's the book by Sebastian Junger about these 3 storms that all collided off the Grand Banks off of Gloucester, and a bunch of Gloucester ships went down. And suddenly I have a whole new respect for what they call marine grade adhesives and this kind of stuff. That stuff like really has to be strong.
All right, you ready for it? Now I can brag, right? So Sebastian Junger met me, or I met him, on a boat on a, they do these tall ship parades in New York. They call Opsail. They do them in Boston too, I think, where they have the tall ships.
So.
They get like 20 or 30 of these tall ships. And I was on a replica of a 300-year-old ship or whatever, 3-masted schooner or whatever the heck it was, and or a bark or like something like that. And Sebastian, I was a guest of Arts and Entertainment Network, and they had like chartered a section of this boat to have their people on board. And Sebastian Junger was there because they were doing a show about him and whatever the story, like the documentary version for History Channel, whatever it was. But it was Arts and Entertainment Networks. and he was really boring. And I read the book. Did you read the book?
I've read it 3 times.
So the book is weird. The book is not like a normal book. Like you go see the movie and it's like, well, and then this guy and his brothers and they had a fight in the bar and then the girl came in and they fell in love, but she's a captain and she went out, so he got to see how like it was like a soap opera, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how the book works. The book, like half the book is like, here's the medical physiology of how you drown. This, like they'll spend like 50 pages on this is what happens to your lungs when you drown and your body and what you perceive and the convulsions and it's like you read pages and pages and pages of how you die of hypothermia and whatever, right?
Yeah, it's funny because everyone mentions that one piece to me when we talk about the book. They all go,
I was like,
"Oh man,
the book is only like this big. It's like a little tiny book, but like half the book is like, you want to have nightmares about drowning? Read The Perfect Storm."
Yeah, drowning in bad meteorology. That
Right,
was like,
and then like they spend the whole book setting it up. Like, here's what's drowning, and they're like, okay, now that you know what it's like to drown and be on a boat and how it all works, we have a story that we'll tell you now.
It does. He explains like all the physics of like how a 70-foot boat would, be tipped over backwards, upside down, by a wave and that kind of thing. The weirdest thing though is
journal. It's a technical journal. The book,
What's really odd is that like they have this one big story of the Andrea Gale, like nice name for a boat,
right?
And like half the book is about the Andrea Gale and the people and what happens to them. Well, they all died, so nobody really knows what happened to the Andrea Gale because it disappeared, right? But he spends half the book describing them. And then the second half of the book is all the stories about all the boats that got rescued. And those are like really fucking awesome stories about like helicopters trying to refuel in 100-mile winds and
right. And the girl's like, well, they're gonna find my body, so I have to duct tape my passport to my body. Like, oh my god, like it's gruesome.
And the Coast Guard swimmer saying, "Well, I just remember jumping off the chopper and then thinking, boy, it's taken a long time to get down to the water." And he doesn't realize it's a trough from these 100-foot waves. So they tried to get him on top of a wave.
Do you Daves know the Perfect Storm? Have you read or watched the movie?
So I know the story. My stepsister used to live in Gloucester.
Right.
So, so typical sea story, right? The sea is trying to kill you at all times, and it's not personal. Right. That's just what it does.
Yeah.
So you went to Gloucester. You've been there?
Yes.
And you went to the Lost Mariners Memorial down there? I'm sure you went to that one.
I did not. I ate at Gloucester.
Oh my God.
House.
So they have a plaque, and they have a guy. They have like the Gloucester fisherman guy,
the guy with the wheel,
with the hat, and he's standing up on the thing, he's looking out to sea. And they have, I don't think they have the names. They might have the names of all the guys who drowned, but they have a plaque, and it's like 20,000 people have drowned going out of just Gloucester.
Yeah.
On true. Fishing boats.
Yeah, that is definitely. I never thought about that. It's the harbor of death. I never really thought about it that way.
Yeah, all in the name of commerce. Like that whatever they call it out there, the trench or the banks or whatever, Grand Bank, whatever they go, that place, the Grand Banks, right? Mm-hmm. It's like not good, and they warn everybody. They're like, it's not good. Your dad, your uncle, your grandpa, his brother, and his son, and his whatever, they all died.
Okay, I'm going.
And you're like, where do I sign up?
Yeah, okay, I'm all ready. It's definitely, the stuff, the scale of what those guys do. They lay out lines with like a series of hooks with like squid on them, and these guys stand on the back of the boat, and this cable goes out, and they're hooking squid as the thing goes by for 40 miles.
It sounds like a bad idea to me.
And then, so I won't get gruesome. He gets pretty gruesome in it, but there very bad things can happen with those hooks and cables.
Absolutely.
But to me, the thought of like these ships driving around with like 40 miles of cable and 15 miles of nets, and it's like, don't you guys like get caught up in each other's shit every now and then?
So Dave Platt, let me ask you a question. So you've got your what is it, a dory? What do you have? What is it called?
It's just
a cat boat.
Just a little Cape Cod cat boat.
It's a cat boat, right?
Yeah.
So you got your little cat boat, and it's amazing. It's super cool. I love it. It's like the total essence of sailing and everything. How many times, even if it's just once, have you thought, I'm getting over my head here? Like, something bad might happen. Like, this is not good.
All right, so I'm a fair weather sailor. I mean, I go when the conditions are as mild as they can be, you know?
Right.
But that said, I mean, a couple of occasions, one of them was docking, believe it or not. For whatever reason, the thumb screws on the outboard had loosened up over time. And I went to go put it in reverse, and the whole motor just twisted off the transom, and I caught it with one hand. I almost lost the engine.
Holy crap.
You're lucky you could lift that motor, you know?
Yeah.
And that was just trying to get into my slip, right? That was like very low, whatever level of difficulty, but it decided to turn on you. There was one time I was out heading like towards Kakini Island, out in the channel out there, and the wind started picking up to about, once you get over about 12 knots, you really have to have a reef in on that boat. And I'd never reefed the sail before.
Right.
And it started picking up. I think it was, what's the end of the season? Is that Labor Day or Memorial Day? I don't remember.
Labor Day. Yeah.
Labor Day. So it was a Labor Day. It was a beautiful day. But we're out there, and it started picking up. So a couple things happened. It started blowing about 15 knots, and that boat has a really heavy weather helm. So the tiller's really fighting me, right, to keep the boat on course. And then to compound that, it's the no wake zone in the channel out there.
Oh, God.
And, there's a couple of like triple engine center consoles decided to buzz me. So now like the waves are kicking up, and so that was pretty close, like trying to get the boat under control and not get rolled by a wave. And
but you get this feeling. I know the feeling because I've been sailing for a long, long time. You get this feeling at one point. You're like, you're already doing this. I'm the master of the ocean. I can do anything. Like, it's great. And you're cruising along and everything's fine. And then you get this one moment where you're like, what am I doing out here? This is not safe,
I get it's like a feeling of like I think I might be over my head, I don't really know.
And you're like, I got to avoid this. Your prefrontal cortex kicks in, and you're like, how do I never do this thing again? Whatever is happening here,
It's funny because for 7 years I rented boats out of Rex Marine in Norwalk, power boats. They were like Sundeck 24s or basically like 24-foot boats.
Those will kill you too. Don't worry.
Definitely. And I always asked everyone I met, hey, what do you do if you like get into like waves that are, too big, and everyone had like one little tip. I'm out on my last final voyage. I've invited some women from work who are older women. They're all like chatty and friendly, and I invite them out. I owe them a favor. It's a long story. But anyway, they're all like, each of them brings at least one bottle of wine. And so they're getting really tipsy. We go into this little cove, called Wilson Cove, if you're not familiar with it. Sheltered, wonderful for partying and hanging out. And we come out of Wilson Cove, and the wind has like really blown up, And I start thinking about what people have told me over the last 7 years. Okay, what did so and so say, and what did so and so say? And so the first thing to do is to throttle back so that the boat, instead of planing, is like tilted up. So I slow down and tilt up, and things get a little bit more under control. And the next thing is to get your weight to go to the back. So I tell all these women who at this point are really pretty smashed, can you all move to the back of the boat? And they all go, oh, sure,
that's the weight,
And they don't have a clue of the fact that we're about to fucking sink. And I'm just like terrified, white knuckled, thinking this is my last sail. This was my last time I was going to rent a boat. I was done at that point.
Right.
I thought, I'm going to die on the last one. I'll be the only guy who
the thing with the ocean is, you think you're the captain of the Titanic, the new flagship of the world, and you think I'm all that, and then at some point you go, maybe I'm just a little ant climbing
Yeah.
around on this thing
Yeah,
that's floating on the ocean.
Yeah. Time.
So I know when you're in a situation, and like I don't know, you there I could tell some story. I'm not going to tell ocean tales on GMTV, but I could tell stories where I was like, yeah, I might have died on that one. Like I might not have been okay on that one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in the moment, I can hold it together. Like
Right.
I just concentrate on getting out of the pickle you're in, and I can keep a cool head, and it doesn't really get
Right.
to me. It's like the replay afterwards, right? When
Yep.
Yeah.
when
That's-
you
yeah.
go over it in your head, it's like, why
That's
did I
it.
put myself
Yeah.
in that
That's-
particular situation?
Yeah.
Things happen in succession. So you're like okay, I'm out here and I'm doing whatever, etc. And it's a good thing I have a bilge pump, and then the bilge pump gets clogged, and then you're like, okay, well, so now I got water coming in. I got the bilge pump, so I got to go. I got a bucket. I can get the bucket, and then the bucket falls overboard, and then you're like, so it's like a series of, it's like you're reaching for the motor, but your shoe is untied, and you slip, and it's like it can get bad.
Your head. Now you're bleeding. Okay. Where's the first aid kit? Just goes downhill from there.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeesh.
Meanwhile, when are you going to put your boat in the water? Let's go sailing.
I can go. So the good news is I've been at this for a few years now. So every
Yeah.
year it gets a little bit better. Last year was a real breakthrough. Like you don't ever get comfortable because that's when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah.
But I for my little domain that I operate in, I'm doing pretty good. So
That's good.
it's so yeah, so I can put my boat in the slip. I mean, as early as the 22nd. Like I said, I got a little bit of fiberglass work I want to do, and then some varnish, and yeah, in the water it goes. So anytime you want to go for a sail,
Oh,
come
we're
on
going.
down.
We're all coming down there. We're coming down.
I'll choke to death if I go into the cabin. Does this have a cabin? I don't know
No,
whether
it's just
catboats
got a
have
little
them.
cuddy where you can stow gear, but it's got an enormous cockpit for a little boat. Ed'll tell you
Yeah.
who's been in the boat.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
So it's a very comfortable boat. I mean, the last time I went out with Ed, I did not have a lot of experience sailing the boat, but now we can get the boat to do what we want it to do.
yeah, that's a good
So-
thing. Yeah, yeah.
All right, Will Baird, sing us a sea shanty or
That's
something
right. Something about
Save
drinking
us
and women.
from
Yeah.
our nautical conversation.
Okay, well, this will be good given the weather. The perfect storm is over.
right.
Yeah.
Oops.
Sounds great.
Stop it. I was lucky I had that queued up. It like worked out perfectly. You're talking about storms and rain and the
Yeah,
sun's
it's
out,
kind of the
guys.
same at a gig. You're on a gig, and all of a sudden the song starts to like go like a boat that's about to sink, and then you're like, "Can this be saved?"
Oh, I have a whole festival to look forward to of songs like that.
See, I'm the guy. I don't know how I became the guy. Like in the Blues Patrol, when Dave plays in the Blues Patrol with me, if we get some gigs, we
I
haven't
didn't
been
know that.
playing lately, but we'll have some gigs this year, I'm sure. But you get somewhere, like the song starts. It's like, here we go, and the drummer counts it off, and it starts, and then you realize something's wrong, and then a measure goes by, and you're like, the guitar player thinks it's in this key, but it's not. Okay. And then you're like, oh God. Now the bass player is doing it right and the guitar player is doing it wrong, and the horn comes in and they follow the guitar player or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you hear it developing, and I'm the guy who goes in a live show who goes, stop, because I got that sensibility from being in a jam. You're like, you're doing the math and you're like,
Yeah.
what are the odds that it's going to fix itself? Or even better, Dave Robinson, right? When the drummer does something happens in the song and now you're 2 beats off. You're like, instead of 1 2 3 4, it's 3 4 1 2, and you can, when you're playing the song, you kind of can't hear how to get out of that. Like it's like an optical illusion. You can't see it the other way. Like all of a sudden, so 8 people have to change to the drummer, which is not happening. And that's what I'm like. Emergency, pull the emergency handle. And I'm the guy that I've never had anybody pull the emergency handle but me.
So you're the hook, basically. You're the vaudeville.
I'm the hook. I'm like
just takes the
no,
whole
we
band.
just. I guess it's from jams. That's when it really happens in a jam, where people are just having a good time, and they serve alcohol, and it's like, good luck, you're gonna get through the song.
I'm in the wrong fucking key, and I don't even know or care. Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
need to-
probably less painful to just stop it right there than to see it through,
Laugh it off. Just laugh it off. Go say to the audience, "Okay, take 2." And everybody goes, "Okay, whatever," But
I'm a strong believer in that. If
Yeah.
it's a blatantly obvious fuck up.
see, to me, the rule for me generally is the band is in service of the singer. So the singers, all the eyeballs are on the singer. And if the singer goes off into the verse, the chorus wrong, follow the singer. Like, just that whatever they do is right. The problem is the singers learn, like, well, I'm the singer, so everything I do is right. They and that creates some problems. But
Yeah, yes. That makes sense. Well, this is why I just use, backing tracks on everything. I don't do anything with human
no, but
beings
you know
with
what?
music.
Backing tracks, you can get in trouble too, because even your own backing tracks that you made, and you got Dave Robinson, who's Mr. Backing Track. He plays along with backing tracks. If you don't have a system that can, like, you can navigate, you can go, okay, the verse is now. The backing track doesn't tell you that, remember that little thing that goes bop bop before the verse comes, like Hall and Oates does that all the time. They're like, it's 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 3, and if you miss that 1 2, now you're out of sync
You're like,
with your own backing track.
Yeah.
Have you done that? I haven't heard you do that a lot. Like, you must practice.
You're talking to David, I assume. 'cause
No,
I
I'm
don't
talking to you,
practice
Will
enough.
Baird. Like, I haven't noticed you go like
Yeah, like whoops.
with the backing track.
No, I
Have
do-
you,
I
what
do-
about
yeah.
both of you guys? Like, Will Baird, what about you? And then I want to hear from Mr. Drummer.
Wait, do you mean you want to hear from David Robinson or Will Baird?
Will Baird first.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I rehearse a lot with these things. But also, when you're creating it, it takes so long to craft the damn thing because it's not like you're saying to the drummer and the bass player, okay, you guys put something together and let's see what it sounds like, you know. And
You
they
do
do
it.
the thinking, and then you sort of edit it and say, okay, yeah, you know, that's okay. I do every one of these parts,
Right,
and write
right.
every one of them, and play every one of them. So by the time I'm done, I still fuck them up, but it's not as much as I do when I play live with people. That'll
Right.
really get you guys to want to get me to sit in with you. I don't fuck up as much as I do.
What
with live
about you,
people.
Dave Robinson? When you're doing your performances where you're playing with a track, do you get out of sync sometimes?
Yes, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. But first of all, when I'm doing that, and I'm not sure, Dave, if you've seen some of the videos that I drum along to pre-recorded music.
No, I don't think I have.
I know Sherry has.
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen it. But the thing is, first of all, I try to, hopefully, I'm all over the place. I'm through anywhere from A through Z, okay?
Right.
Everywhere, all genres. I don't care. I dive into the swimming pool with very little water. So I try to listen, Ed. I try to do real good listening,
All right.
unless I'm going to play something off of a chart. Now that's a totally different story, right?
Yep.
But if I'm not playing off of a chart, I gotta listen real good, and I try not to be like the drummer or drummers necessarily that are playing the cut. I mean, unless there's a piece that you guys know. Oh, wait, it's coming up. I better hear that drum fill.
Right.
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 Yeah, classic. Yeah.
All right. I'll go with the drummer whoever it was that recorded it.
Right.
Otherwise, I do my own thing.
Right.
and kind of like layer up on what the original drummer, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of blends, right? So it's not so
Right.
screwed up.
And if you have to back off, the drummer's still there. You know?
Exactly. And I
Yeah, that's right.
for that today. Who the hell was I drumming along to? Oh, I drummed along to Marshall Tucker Band.
Right.
And who's the other band? Leonard Skinner. Okay, so there was some shit going on there, and it's been a long time. That's another thing. These tunes, man, lots of times I haven't heard the tune in years.
Yeah.
In years. But I don't give a shit. I dive right in. Jump right in, man. Call it.
Well, you have been doing it for a while, you know. You can.
Ed's doing his thing. Right. I'm on it, Ed. I'm on your back. I'm not getting off. Dave, I'm right there. I know you're playing that bass, man. And Will, the same thing, acoustically, so try to be tasteful. And if I don't know, not sure, I'll quiet up.
Right.
I will quiet up.
Allow your brain to get back in sync with the tune. Feel it. Yeah.
And back off just a little bit until I'm right there again. Yes.
I it's happened before where I would get up at a jam and I would get up from the keyboard and I would walk across the stage to the drummer that's one beat out, like he's like one, it's like it's 4, 1, 2, 3, and he can't hear it, and the fills are coming on the chain, so it's not in sync, whatever, and he can't hear it. He's just playing away like it's all fine,
Yeah.
Like with Steve Wexler, I remember like all the time. At the end of the night, everybody's feeling no pain, and like we're just trying to get through the night. And I would get up and I would go, stop playing. I would go, stop. And they're like, I can't stop. I'm the drummer, and I'm like, stop. Right? You probably remember me doing this, Dave Platt, right?
Yeah.
I'd be like, stop, and the drummer would stop, and I'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, and they'd be like. And you could see them going, you're counting it wrong. It's the other way.
Yeah,
That doesn't, whatever. And then they go, oh, and then they start playing. I'm like, got it. Yeah, now you're on it.
Oh, wow. Ed, how embarrassing.
Yeah.
No, but the answer is everybody in the room is all lubricated. Nobody cares, like everybody's like, rock and roll.
Yeah. It's true. Everybody's just having a good time.
No, it's funny. It's like and the other thing is I don't really drink. Like I'll have a drink once in a while, but I don't really drink. And so like especially if I'm at a jam, I'm trying to be the music director at a jam and like keep it all together and
Yeah.
and yeah. So I'm not drinking, and so I hear everything.
I understand that.
You know?
I understand.
You hear every mistake. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like interstage communication, you know, I always thought that it would be cool. You know how like some organs have foot pedals, you know, like you could take off your shoe and play with your sock, and your Hammond organs have that, and church organs have that, whatever. I always wanted to get like I have it actually. I just have to wire it up somehow. I'll ask ChatGPT how to wire it up. Where I would have a board, like go to Home Depot and get like 12 lights, you know, and screw them into a board that you draw a keyboard and like have the notes C, D, E, F, G with all the sharps and the flats, whatever. And then when I pressed the pedal, it would light up the light, right? And so we're in a jam and we're playing a song, and it's gonna go like it's 145, 145, 145. Everything's going great. 145, 145, and then it's gonna go to the 2, or it's gonna go to the the flat 7, you know, it's going to go up to the B flat or whatever. It's like that. And people don't know it. And they're like, bass players have a problem with this sometimes. Like if you don't know the song and you're just trying to get through it, then you're like, okay, it must go here. And it's like, no. Hall & Oates is another example of that. Like they modulate around. Elton John does that too. It'll modulate a 4th or a 5th. And you're like, where am I? Right. Where I could just press the little B flat on the pedal on the floor with my feet, and the light would go on, and they would go, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, a light at the feet, you know, like at the foot of the stage. Footlights.
Yeah, I've always wanted to build that. I'm going to do that now. Now that I'm not playing that much, I'm going to build that contraption.
Well, here's an interesting oddball story. I'm watching my son's choir sing. He was in college at the time. This was 10 years ago, and they were on tour. It was like this very prestigious choir, and I went to hear them with some friends, and they had these like ornate robes that were worth like thousands of dollars.
All right.
And it was all very formal. They would come out, they'd do like 3 songs, and then they'd leave to get a drink of water. And then they would come back out, you know, all 80 of them, and do their thing and leave. So my friend leans to me and says, "Do you notice all the girls in the front row are holding hands?" And if you looked really closely, you could see below the. Sorry, I keep doing that. Below the arms of the robes, they're holding hands, you know. And it's like, well, that's interesting, you know. So I'm talking with Charlie, my son, afterwards, and I go, "So we noticed all the girls were holding hands." And he said, "Yeah, all the guys do too. Everybody does." And I was like, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, we got signals. You pass signals
wow,
around.
really?
You squeeze the guy's hand, or you move your finger, or whatever, and it tells them like you're flat, you're sharp, that kind of
really?
stuff.
Yeah,
and
they
all-
got.
and that's why
That's
they're
a
holding
great
hands.
idea.
Yeah, he said they've been doing it in that choir for like over 100 years.
So you're like,
It's like,
tell Bob he's flat.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
And then
pass
you
it
wonder
on.
if it was like, Joe screwed my girlfriend. You wonder like if they have other signals that are
Like
like
fist fight suddenly breaks out in the middle of it.
your weed really sucks. Yeah. No, it was very impressive choir. I mean, for college, it was good stuff.
So
an
where it
audience
gets-
is. What, Dave?
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say where it gets tough in a situation like that for me is I'm the bass player, right? So I'm kind of beholden to the drummer, but I'm also kind of beholden to the people who are playing notes. And, I have my deficiencies as a musician, but time is not one of them. That's one thing I'm very good with. Like
Right.
any song I can play it to the record from the beginning to the end, will not miss a beat.
Right.
And
And you get the groove and you get the tempo. You're very consistent.
and know where the changes are and what have you. And some people, for some reason, 4 beats to a measure is like up for interpretation. For me, it's not.
Yes, exactly.
But that said, if a drummer slips out half a beat or something, I can lock right into that instantly. But the
Right.
problem is should I?
Right, because maybe everybody else is not going to follow you off the cliff,
Right. You just don't. So sometimes you don't know what to do. And with Blues Patrol, it's easy. I look at you, you'll tell me what you
Right.
want. And, again, if I, going to the wrong chord, you'll give me a 4 or whatever, right?
Right. See, that's the trick. There, especially where there's songs in any band, if you're not totally clear on the arrangement or on what's coming up or whatever, all you have to do is just be alert and pick the right person. Like, don't follow Elwood, ever. Don't ever, if he's it's going to the whatever, don't listen to him. He doesn't know, like you pick the one who knows,
Right.
And it used to be Pierre. Pierre used to be the musical director at Blues Patrol, and like some of that has fallen on me. But I've had situations where, I guess even with you when you first started playing with us, because Blues Brothers music is not. It just sounds like we've all heard the songs before. It sounds simple, but there's nothing simple about it. It's like heavily arranged, and it goes in. It takes little weird turns and has like weird hits that are very, very specific. And like it goes 1 4 5 1 4 5 for the entire song, except at the end it goes 1 5 4
or 1 6 2 5.
Right,
or
right.
Whatever, right.
Exactly. And or the ending isn't 3 times; it's 2 times. And then it goes into another section, whatever. And so you just got to have that on-stage communication to try to get through. And then see, the problem that I have is that I don't play bass lines with my left hand, because bass players don't need help with bass in a band, right? So you'll see me when I play, I'm playing notes with this hand, but I'm like syncopating with this hand, right? But I'm not actually hitting the keys a lot of the time. But I use this hand to communicate like where we're going. So like, okay, we're going to the 1, going to the 4, going to the 5. Now we're going down to the A minor and C. It's a 6, and I'm like,
yeah, you only got one hand, right?
How do you do a hand signal for play a flat 7? Yeah. Like with one hand, you're like
7.
I can do 7. Now I'm not playing, and then
hands.
like 7 sharp, 6 sharp. Like how do you do it? You build a board. Speaking of how do you do it, Dave Lindsay.
Hey, Dave Lindsay.
So this is Ed and Will and the 3 Daves. That's the new name of the show.
That's right. The night of the 3 Daves.
Yeah, it seemed like we already had a quorum, but I figured just to put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, we kind of needed that. Yeah, thank you.
Dave domination is complete. I would join the crowd here.
What are you eating? What are you having for dinner?
I'm eating some roasted cauliflower and some peanut sauce noodles.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Of your own making, or did you order the peanut?
Making, yes.
Wow. What do you do with it? How do you make the
peanut sauce?
How do you make the peanut sauce? How do you do that?
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
Tamari. Little sesame oil.
Yeah.
Garlic, ginger. Little pepper, some sugar, brown sugar.
That sounds good. I don't have all that stuff.
You have it all?
No, I don't have tamari, and I don't have like. I go to the store and I go to the the Asian food section or whatever, and I'm like, I need to buy all this stuff. Then I'm like, yeah, a week in I'll be like, yeah, this sesame oil's been sitting around for 6 years. Like I didn't, so like I want to buy sesame oil, but it's $7, and I don't.
Much. Yeah. Have any of you guys read the? Oh, go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I have 3 varieties of sesame oil in my cabinet right now. So swing by it.
I feel threatened. By the way, I'm threatened by that.
That's like 3
no sesame oil.
Right? Because a little sesame oil goes a long way.
Right.
Yep. But I use it a lot.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. That sounds like a good dinner you're having.
Yeah. The other reason I needed to get on right now is I heard a bass player who shall remain nameless saying that if the drummer gets out of time. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to jump in here.
Hey,
I gotta log on.
So, Dave, one of you, Daves, I'm speaking to one of you, right?
Yeah.
Let the drummers think they control the groove and the tempo. Let them think that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't
so
there
what I
that
want to
cruiser?
know is because I dabble and I have a drum set. And again, my time isn't an issue for me. I usually have really good time. But when I'm trying to play along to music on the drums, I always drift. And it's really because I can't hear.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So what do you guys do short of like blasting the stereo or whatever you're playing to? Like, the headphones help, or like what's the trick?
Well-
Because I really consciously have to slow myself down so I can hear the music.
It's one or the other. Either blast it or put headphones on, and then
Right.
blast them.
Yeah,
Right.
Dave Robinson's voting for headphones.
Headphones, yeah.
Showing you, man. That's it. This is what I use. Well, I use two things: these and also in the ear monitors. Okay. But lately, I've been going here. This way, I
Right.
can complete total isolation. I
Yeah,
got
are those the Vic Firth ones?
yes, yes,
Yeah, okay.
friend. Yes.
So, what does it isolate you from? I mean,
Everything.
around you, or-
Everything. It puts you on the International Space Station. You can't hear anything but what's coming through those headphones.
total silence.
Yeah.
And
Yes, it's so the volume of the drums doesn't interfere with your listening to the music, right? To the
Right.
point where you can't keep track of where you are.
Right.
right. And obviously at my fingertips, I can adjust level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Right.
you-
Playing.
On the left hand side next to my hi-hat down here, and I can dial in on my computer, which is on my right hand side.
Right. And if you ever need to hear your drums a little bit, do you ever crack the ear a little bit just like this? You just
No,
move it a
no,
little-
no, I don't. No,
Oh, you don't do that.
No, don't have to do that.
You can mix it in.
I can mix it in.
Yeah, right. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and individual each drum, cymbals. I'm using this. I talked about it before, but I'm using it's a Yamaha EA10.
Okay.
Okay, and it's got microphones. It mounts on the bass drum.
Because I've memorized every Yamaha product number
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
in the drum line or whatever.
I mean, it's beautiful, man. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? One piece, actually two items. One mounts on the bass drum, and then the other mounts on the hi-hat. And then it just allows you to do. That's why I can get. Dave, I sent you a friend request.
Which one?
Yeah. Which Dave? Yeah.
Jerry's husband.
The Book of Dave in the
man.
Bible. Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will accept that.
I sent your friend request. But the
All right.
thing is, with the different music that I drum along to, and I know Dave peeks in every once in a while and checks out things. Dave, if you listen to the drums, you probably wonder, how the hell is he getting that bottom sound when I'm doing Led Zeppelin? This thing lets me dial in. The kit is a small kit, but I can get that big ass sound if you
Right.
that's what you're looking for, you need, or, all over. And I don't care what set it is, man. I just dial up in it
Right.
and let the drums speak for themselves,
And that will be a fantastic system until they come out with the next model, and you'll be like, I have to have the new
Yeah,
one.
that's right.
I have to get it.
And
It's going to change my life.
if it comes out, Ed, I'm buying it.
It's my nightmare too. I'm like, oh God, like this is my latest one, right? It's still in the box, right? I had it out of the box.
That's another keyboard.
I'll take it out of the box. It's
Wow.
it's I already had it out with Dave Robinson on,
Yes. Hey,
online.
Dave, Lindsay, jump in, brother.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I didn't hear it, but I saw it.
Right. Don't get me wrong.
It's purple and shiny and nice. It's actually, this is about as weird as you can get. I got one weirder than this. It's actually a drum machine, but it doesn't make, like, there's no kick drum button, or there's no hi-hat or snare button. It's an 1960s synthesizer, like Moog synthesizer engine that synthesizes really badly what is a drum set. And you could do like techno on here and stuff like that. It's very unruly. You know, you've seen the little tiny ones I have with like lots of wires coming out of them.
Yeah.
But this is one level. You can plug lots of wires in it right here, but this is one level more sane than that. But you could set this whole thing up and have it doing your beat, and you'll never be able to recreate it. Like there's no memory. It'll just, you have to, all the knobs are like tweaked in just a little bit. I'm a little scared of it. Like I am a little scared.
Wait a minute, Ed. Wait a minute. You haven't fired it up yet?
I have. I fired it up the other day with some headphones when I got it, just to make sure it's working. But the thing you have to do with any of these weird pieces of gear is you have to develop kind of a relationship with it. Like you have to. It's not like you've got a new drum set and, oh my God, it's got a snare drum and a kick drum and some tom-toms and some cymbals and a hi-hat.
And my old one did
this
too.
is totally weird. It does the vocabulary of it, what you turn and what to make it do anything like what you want. You have to work with it. And I watch a ton of YouTube videos, and I'm just not ready yet. I'm not ready to commit.
So how many different drum sounds can you have going on it at once?
None.
I mean, it's got a sequencer, right? So you can assign sounds to a point on the sequence, right?
It looks like remember the old scanner that you could get at Radio Shack, and it would like scan the police band, and you put each frequency. So it's got a scanner. It basically has the old Radio Shack scanner here, right? Yep. These, and you can set the knobs, and you can hit play, and it scans through 8 things. It's only 8, right? Okay. And there's no swing knob. It's not going to swing, but you can make it do weird things. You can patch it with wires, so you can modulate the tempo with a sine wave, and make it swing, make it warble a little bit. But you have to get into the head of it. You have to understand that you can do that. It's 8 steps, but it doesn't trigger things. So you can't say, okay, I'm going to make the drum sound, the kick drum's going to be this, and then the snare's going to be this, and then I'm going to play those. It doesn't work that way. It's got 2 oscillators, that put notes out, like synthesizer notes. Right. And they could be a bass line, or they could be a bump, whatever. If it's all a kick drum is nothing but a note. It's a note, And so's a snare. It's got noise. You can dial up the noise. It'll go, but it's not going to give you a snare drum. Right. But you could use one of the oscillators with the noise and make it go, you can make it have that. But then how do you get the kick drum to work? It's very limited. And we're going to find out if I can control it.
I'm trying to figure out why you bought it.
Why did I buy it? Mental illness is why I bought it. It's pretty, and it's made of steel, and it's painted purple. That's why I bought it.
I live alone.
They told me. My cats told me to buy it. That's why.
Things that make sounds.
And Dave Lindsay, he gave me hell.
Right.
Hell.
Exactly. It's got things on it that I got to look up what they are. It's got some weird stuff going on. So,
oh man, it's like the manual is required.
Yeah. He beat me down, Ed.
But you guys helped me move to the next step. The next step was taking it out of the box. It's now out of the box.
The 12-step method. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to find a place on my desk for it.
Right.
Good luck with that.
So, and then I have to.
Wrangling the theremin is going to be easy.
Yes. So the theremin, the theremin is a wonderful thing, but you really do have to practice it a whole bunch to get any good at it. So you get it, and you're like, woo, woo, woo. All right, I'm done. Your ADHD kicks in, and you're like, all right, that's it.
I can't organize this. No way.
Right.
But what you're saying about, not being able to repeat something, like if you found something you liked, you might never, ever be able to do it again. I kind of feel like the theremin is got that quality as well. Not for
Absolutely.
Lorenz or somebody who knows what they're doing, but for
that's the thing. You have to control. So then what you do is you get something like this, right? This beatbox sampler, right? Looks like a calculator. And what you do with that is you do the thing that you can never repeat. You know it. You've dialed it in and you're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And then you turn it off and you listen to it later and you're like, it's not that cool. Yeah. But you find the one that survives that and you're like, I want to use this in a piece of music, and you record it into that thing. And that thing gets to loop it and play it over and over again, and then you never need it again. You just have a little sample of it. I haven't gotten that far.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of computers, right? Is that you can repeat something. You can save it, and then you can experiment with that. You can, branch off, and the undo button is the best tool ever, right?
Okay. So there's actually two ways of looking at that. And I teach electronic music, so I tell my students, I say, you get a computer or a phone that has, 60 gigabytes of data. You could record music from now until you're deaf, and you will never have the time to listen to it because it's so much space. And but what happens then is that you start a project and you're like, I'm going to start a project and I record this and I'm going to add some of this and whatever. And then it sounds like hell. Oh, I don't know. It needs work, whatever. Save. And you save it. And then you never open that again. You're not going to go in and fix it. You're uninspired. You just do a new one. So your hard drive is full of thousands of projects or hundreds of projects of songs of things that you never finish. Right. But if you have a guitar and you're a guitar player and you sing, you can actually craft a song and then now it's done and it's a thing. It's not a part of a thing on a hard drive somewhere. And this thing, this fancy device that just came out, right? This has 64 megabytes of memory, which is nothing. Like you got an ad from Walmart today that is 10 times as big as 64 megabytes on your email. It's the size of an ad from Walmart, or a reel. A reel is a megabyte. This is is a gigabyte. This is 64 megabytes. But the idea is, it forces you to finish something. You can sit down and start and finish it. And when you're done, you can't save it. You have to erase it. And it's gone forever. If you didn't record that and make a recording or a live thing on YouTube or whatever it is, you can't save it. It forces you to finish material,
And there's something to be said for that. You don't get paralyzed by all your choices,
you end up with 100 things.
To back out.
And in the studio, when people used to go to recording studios and pay money, right? You go in and you're like, okay, here's my $2,000 for every song, and you're going to do 5, right? You put up some real money. There's an incentive for you to finish it, to get it somewhere close to finish because you've spent money on it. But if you're in your home studio and you're surrounded by all kinds of toys and whatever, and you have ADHD, good luck to you. You're never finishing anything. Speaking of somebody who knows how to finish things, he's still in the Virgin Islands. I could see his head. His head.
Sorry, I was asleep. Are you guys still there?
They've got him.
It was just this blurry fan.
Just kind of faded away.
Yeah, right. I saw you get smaller and smaller. It was like.
Well, I'm sending a long-winded email to someone, and I said, well, while these guys are talking, I'll just start it. Now I'll have to go back and fucking start it all over again. But
there you go. Yeah, sorry to wake you up.
Oh my God.
Good to see you. How's the Virgin Islands? What's going on down there?
That really sucks here, man.
I'll bet.
Considering what I'm hearing from the weather you guys got the last couple of days, it's everybody was pretty pissed.
I got snow last night. Vermont got 2 feet of snow or whatever. I got an inch.
Litchfield they closed the schools.
Right. I got a little dusting. It's all melted now. It's, I like spring snowstorms because it's
I'm good.
You know what? A spring snowstorm is better.
Yeah, because it's over. Because
than like a December, right? Because then you're like, when this snow gets cleared, it's still winter for another year.
Yeah.
I'm never getting out of this.
Yeah. We actually haven't had rain in too long.
Oh,
And so the cisterns, the people that have, we don't have cisterns. We're on the city system, but
yeah, but they have cisterns.
all over the place,
Right.
everybody. And they're all starting to. In October, when I first got here this year, the cisterns were overflowing,
Yeah.
raining every day, and they have these runoffs that you just watch the water
Right.
pour into the ocean. And now it literally has. It rained a little bit last night, but literally hasn't rained. Danny came down for 10, 12 days, and he
Right.
said, my brother, Danny,
Right.
and he played with me, and it was great.
Nice.
Nothing happened.
That's cool.
Having family. And he said, "Boy, I hope the weather's good." I said, "Well, actually, we're hoping that the weather's bad.
Right.
We could use some storms, but it wasn't." And he has
So what are you going to do? Are you all just going to shrivel up and die down there if it doesn't rain?
no.
What
It's
happens?
just- well, I'm not in the cistern situation, so I'm fine. But
Yeah,
what
right.
people have to do in that situation is they call the water companies, these big water trucks,
Right.
and they fill up their cistern and charge them a fortune,
Yeah, right.
for it. But it hasn't really. It's not there yet, but
Right.
It's if it's another 2 or 3 weeks this way,
Right.
then it's going to be an ecological. It's going to be a problem.
Don't worry. Hurricane season is right around the corner.
That's
I'll be
right.
gone by then. No,
You've
I'm
got nothing to worry
Did
about.
I tell you what I'm doing?
No,
Oh God, this is
not yet.
well. This is my condominium here.
Yeah, all right.
It's never mind. Can't say it.
Right.
It's really nice. It's really dated. The view is incredible. It looks out on the harbor.
Right.
Yeah.
And Diane always took care of it really well. And but it's all original 1987 stuff.
Right, all right.
Condos
Ooh,
were built.
vintage. Yeah.
But I love it. I don't care. However, it's going to need the work.
Okay.
So the contractor said to me, and I mean, when I mean the work, I mean the floor has to come up, the showers have to be done, the bathrooms have to be done, the kitchen has to be done, the island in the kitchen has to be done. It's $100,000 worth of work,
Right.
which will make it a $500,000 condominium. But at the same time, I can't be here.
Right.
So I have to
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out what I'm going to do. So for a month, I'm going to come back up to Stanford.
Yeah.
See my grandkids and my daughters and and then I think it was 7 or 8, 9 years ago. Diane and I were in Paris, and we were playing with a friend of mine named Malcolm Brooks, who's a phenomenal songwriter. Taught me how to write songs actually, and we were playing at this gig in this weird little club, and we started walking up this hill. He said, "I got to show you something." And I said, "Okay," and I got my guitar and he's got his guitar and we're walking, but it's like 5 sets of stairs, and I said,
Right.
are we getting there? He said, "Yeah, we're almost there." And we come out and this magnificent church is bathed in light and it's brilliant ivory white shining.
Right.
And it's the Sacré-Cœur, which is above Paris. If you've ever been to Paris, it's way up on this mountain, and it looks down at the rest of the city. So you can see the Eiffel Tower, you can see the Arc de Triomphe, Notre Dame, you can see the river. It's gorgeous, and all these people were a lot of people. It's tourists, a lot of people were milling around. One guy had a violin with his case open. Another guy had a guitar with his case open. Another guy had an accordion with his case open. And these people are going back and forth. And I said to myself, I said, "Listen, you guys go ahead. I want to try something." And so I put my guitar case down and I opened it. And I just started to play and sing. And I sang for about 45 minutes, I think. And they all came back. They said, "Are you ready to go?" I said, "Yeah." But I had a whole nice crowd of people that were liking it.
Right.
I made like $100 American
Wow.
in about less than an hour.
Right.
And I
Good.
went, all right.
It's good.
And I put that away in my mind. And I have 3 months to kill. So I was originally going to start in Dublin and go down to the Amalfi Coast until somebody said that you're an idiot. Start at
Right.
the Amalfi Coast and go back to London because the weather is going to get better as opposed to getting worse. In September, if I got to the Amalfi Coast, it's 110 degrees. So I'm going to start in Sicily anyway. And I'm still looking for a partner to go with me. I'd prefer a woman, but I will take a man at
Right.
that point.
In a pinch?
Sounds a little
Well,
weird when you
it's
put it
gotta
that
be
way.
right, man. I'm just saying, I'm pretty heterosexual kind of a guy, so it's got to just be a buddy.
Whatever gets you through the night.
Hey, I'm good with that. But I now have realized that I have to start and go backwards. So I'm going to start in Sicily. I'm going to go to Florence. Then I'm going to go to Florence, to Rome, to Saint-Tropez,
Right.
Paris, to London, then to Edinburgh, where my daughter supposedly went to college, but really didn't. And then to Dublin, because I'm Irish. And I've never been to Ireland, one of the few
Right.
places I've never been.
So you got
And
your
I'm gonna
Eurail
just-
pass. You got your train ticket.
I'm going to rent a car.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going to drive until I get to the end of the continent, and then I'll probably rent a car in Scotland and in Dublin. But nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. And it's a vagabond.
Right.
And I'm calling it the Vagabond Tour. It's a bucket list thing for me.
That's great.
Walkabout. Right?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a walkabout.
Yep.
That's better than Vagabond Tour. That's better.
I love that idea.
Well, I have nothing to do right now because my whole family's mad at me and they don't want to really deal with me right now. Which I don't need to go into.
No. Oh,
Whether
no.
they come around or they won't, I mean,
Oh my God.
I've done
So my
pretty good
takeaway
right
from that whole story, is that there are 4 guys named Dave in here right now.
now. Dave's not here. Anybody
Dave,
remember that one?
We got Dave's not here. Yep, Jimmy Jimmy McGuire put that up. Dave's not here, man.
Dave?
Oh man, he's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
here.
He's not there because they're all here.
Where's that from?
How old were you when you did that walk
It
around?
was Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, it was Cheech and Chong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
How old were you when you did that walk around?
I have not done it.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
I'm doing it this summer.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So I have 3 months while they tear this place apart, and I'm going up to Stanford for a month. And
Right.
then I think it'll take a couple of months to do. I really have no idea. I have no plan. I have no ticket yet. I have no nothing,
Right.
but I have a plan.
That's
And
great.
I'm blessed to have enough money to not worry about it, but no one's going to know that.
Right.
To stay in small hotels.
Yeah,
gonna
right.
have a little Fiat, and I'm just going to pull out the guitar. And I'm going to sing. I know in like Rome, for example, the Spanish Steps are a great place to do it.
Yep.
And I know in London, because we were there for a whole summer, that there's a thing called the Poets' Corner in Hyde Park, which all the musicians play at. I know and Paris is Sacré-Cœur. So I know the big places, but when I get to Florence or when I get to Saint-Tropez, I think that when I was in Saint-Tropez, everybody was playing everywhere, so I don't think it matters. But all I'm
Right.
doing is I don't care about the money. I just want to do it.
That sounds great. That's amazing.
Well, I have no other choices right now. I've been kind of locked out of the house, so I better come up with a different plan.
That sounds great. It's either going to be the time of your life or you're going to be in like a Italian prison or a Spanish prison for playing without a permit. You don't have a permit. Come with us.
Thanks, Ed. That really picked me right up there, buddy.
No
Really
vagrancy.
good about it now, pal.
We will confiscate your instrument. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we will confiscate
They'll
your
confiscate
instrument.
your
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
Exactly.
What are you? I am no one.
Right.
So we'll see.
The
But
question is, what country would you rather be in prison in? Like, You could do a book. You could do a follow-up book about all the jail cells that you get.
Well, I can tell you another really funny story. I've only been in a jail once in my whole life.
Was it good?
Bermuda. Do you guys know Barry Urich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Barry is in the band with us, and we're doing a cruise ship. Don't ask me, too long a story.
All
We go
right.
from New York to the Bahamas to Bermuda and back to New York every week. And we did
Right.
19 weeks. That's what we booked for. And play from 2 to 4 and 5 to 7 or something like that.
Right.
And every time we'd stop at a port, we were free to go because there was nobody on the ship. So we would go too, and we'd take, we'd go ride scooters or, whatever you did there. And the last trip, we're in Bermuda, in Hamilton, and they never bothered anybody, like the customs people or anything. And Barry had that big hair that he had back in the day.
Yeah, the
and
fro.
looked like the wrong guy, and he's got 3 joints sitting on the top of his bag. And
Oh,
I'm
God.
his roommate. Back in our cabin, we can go to prison for life.
Oh,
for the shit
God.
that's in there. And me and my friend Michael, we're about 3 or 4 people behind him when this security woman comes up and she goes, "Excuse me, would you open your bag?" To Barry. And he goes, "I'm sorry." She goes, "Would you open your bag?" He goes, "Well, I'd rather not." He goes, "Well, open the bag." And the 3 joints are sitting right on top. And I'm like looking at him from a distance going, "Fucking idiot, you idiot."
It's like, do they have the 4th Amendment in Bermuda? I don't know.
Just a few minutes, because the next place they're coming is our cabin. So me and Michael tear down these little, trying to find where we are, and I'm dumping the shit into a bag, and I'm just saying, "Get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here." And he gets everything out, and I'm sitting there and I'm reading like a magazine or something, make believe, and the door knocks. And I said, "Hello? Excuse me, we're the the Bermudian police, and your roommate's been arrested for possession of marijuana."
Oh, brother.
Shocked I am. Shocked, I said.
Oh, my God.
They go, "We have to go through the room." And I think we've got everything, right? So they're going through the room.
Oh, God.
This gets way worse.
Oh, no.
Going through the room, and there's a vest that was mine. And in it was a roach.
Yeah.
And they go, "What's this?" I said, "Oh, that's Barry's vest." Barry's already busted, He's already
Right.
under
Right,
arrest.
he's already busted.
I'm not.
Except now we'll get the death penalty. Like, it's just over the limit, like-
Swear to God. Barry goes, "No, Dave, that's your vest." And I went, "No,
No,
it's
it's
not, Barry,
not
that's yours." They go, "Please get up, sir." Now I'm
Oh,
under
no.
arrest. And they lower us off.
You're like, "Barry, you're hiding your drugs in my vest."
Right.
exactly.
And all the people that know us are getting off the boat, and we're being lowered on this police boat, and we go to the Bermudian jail,
Oh, brother.
and it's a dirt floor jail,
Yeah.
and we're on this boat, and it's a 4,000 person boat, and we're
Right.
sitting there for like 3 hours, and the whole time I'm going, "Barry, first of all, you're fired. Second of all, if we ever get out of this, I'm going to kill you because you're so fucking stupid as to not buy into that." And he's like, "Dave, I know. I just didn't know." And I love Barry to death.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I adore him.
It took a long time.
This was a bad moment for Barry. But we're sitting in a dirt cell with a Bermudian guy next to us, like a vagrant kind of a guy. And he's swearing. It's not Crucian like we have down here, but it's like, "I'm going to kill you, white motherfuckers!" And he's screaming for a long time.
Oh, God.
And I finally went, "If you don't shut up, when I get out of here, if I get out of here, I'm going to wait for you to get out of here, and I'm going to kill you." Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I have this way of looking like a little crazy.
Right.
And he went, "Okay, man, okay."
You are from Ireland. Yes. Okay.
It's 4:45 or 4:45 maybe. And the Guy comes in and he says, "You two have to go see the judge." And I'm like, "We've been there for 3 hours," like I said. And he said,
Right.
So we go into, before we get to the judge, there's an anteroom, and the captain of the ship, this big Norwegian motherfucker, is like 6'8" with a beard and picture the Norwegian guy that's a boat captain.
Yeah.
And he looks at me.
white
He looks
coat.
at us both and he goes, "Just plead guilty, and you'll get back on the ship to go home."
Right.
Excuse me, sir. I said, "All due respect, he did this. I didn't do this. I didn't do this." So if anybody's going to plead guilty, it's him. The captain goes, "Listen, because I'm 20 years old. I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." But
Right.
the captain goes, "If
I
you
still
want to get
don't.
on the boat, both of you plead guilty.
Right.
Don't say another
He
word."
knows the drill, this guy.
And I looked at him. I said, "I'm going to trust you," because this was during the time when the ads would say, "If you're busted overseas for drugs, you're in for the worst time of your life."
Right.
And I'm thinking 5 years in a Bermudian prison. And I don't know what's going on. So we walk in, and I said to the captain, I said, "I'm going to trust you with my life here." He said, "Just do what I'm telling you."
Right.
This time he was fed up with me, not Barry, because I was the one going, "Oh!" We walk in, and there's this magistrate, and he goes, "Possession of marijuana, how do you plead?" And I thought about it for a second. I went, "Guilty." He goes, "All right, $75 fine each, and you're free to go."
Win.
And I said to the judge, "He's paying for both of them." That's what I said. And the judge actually smiled. And if you ever see Barry, ask him this story. He'll relate it exactly. The
That's
same.
great. It's a great story.
We paid the money, we got out, and I said, "I'm gonna kill you."
I always thought Barry Urich had a checkered past. I always wondered
I don't
about that
feel
guy.
that he does, except for this moment. I don't have a checkered past. I've never been in a jail before. I mean, I have a checkered past.
Well, you've been in a
Well,
holding
your
cell.
walk around this summer is going to change that. So
Yeah, maybe.
That's right. Depends on what you got in your guitar case. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
saw-
I don't
I
have
saw
anything.
Barry,
I don't smoke pot anymore, and I'm trying not to drink anymore, so I'm dull.
there you go. What's that, Dave Lindsay?
I saw Barry on Tuesday. We both were at Stage One to see the screening of a film, a documentary about Willie DeVille
No,
from the band Make DeVille, right?
yeah, but
You guys-
it was Billy Borsey originally.
Yes, right.
Did you know that? Because
Yeah, well, I didn't know it before I saw the movie, but yeah. So I'm sure some of you guys know Crispin Seal, right?
Sure.
So Crispin was one of the guys, one of the two guys who put this film together, and it took them like 10 years to make this film, and they finally
This is the
finished
Willie
it.
DeVille film, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That sounds
So
great.
anyway, you were talking about Barry and stories of the road, and I saw Barry there that night. But also, Crispin was relating these stories because he was on tour with Mink DeVille in Europe, like in the 80s, right?
Right.
And he was telling us the stories, and I guess Willie DeVille had a heavy heroin problem on and off for a long time, right? So there's a lot of stories.
Yeah, I
And,
know way back, but yeah.
There was one, I can't remember who. I think there were like some record executives were coming to see the band one night, and maybe Crispin knew who they were, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you got to come down, check out this band. I'll introduce you to Willie and everything." So they come back in the green room, and they're looking around, and Crispin's looking around, and Willie's nowhere in sight. And then like this door opens, and there's Willie. He's standing in the door, and he just does a face plant straight down on his face, right?
That was
And
Bill.
Crispin's like, "Oh, well, meet Willie."
Hey,
Yeah.
Willie, it's nice to meet you.
It was my cousin when I got kicked out of this musical, and it was really too long a story, but I got kicked out. I found myself on my face in Stanford, and my cousin Ricky picked me up. He played in a band called Stillwater at the time, way back. But Billy Borsey was his best friend,
Yeah.
We were living at this place called on Turner River Road. Dominic Costanza had a studio there, and we were all. We were. It was a music house, but Billy would come all the time with his girlfriend, and he was just a regular guy. You know, he's a good singer, it's a good thing. And then he goes to New York City, and I don't hear anything about it for like a year or two. And then all of a sudden, there's Willie DeVille, right?
Yeah.
And I said to Rick, I said, "What's the deal?" He goes, "Hey man, he reinvented himself." And he walks in one day with his girlfriend, and they're painted up like they're Martians. You know what I mean? They've got so much makeup on that I went, Billy. Like I was like, yeah. He goes, "How you doing, Dave?" I said, "Well, I'm okay. How are you?" You know. But then I think he got bigger in life after he died. To be honest, because he was really talented as Billy Borsey. I mean, when he was playing, when I went to see him with my cousin, he was really talented. But I never followed it. I didn't know it.
Right.
Hear that he became famous and then died.
Right.
You know. And
it's kind of a tragic story.
I bet.
But if you get a chance to see this film, I know they're playing it around the country. It's well done. It sort of goes, from his upbringing in Stanford all the way through.
Really?
To he died from pancreatic cancer, and
really,
yeah. But it's definitely worth checking out if you get a chance to catch it.
I read about it and I said, yeah, that's but it's never crossed my path, so I haven't seen it.
Right. Well, I think it's pretty new. I think the screening that we saw might have only been one of the first few. Certainly one of the first 5.
I read
That's
about
great.
it the last 4 or 5 months is the first time I heard about it.
And Crispin was a producer of it, or he put it together, or filmmaker?
I'm not sure how he's billed in the credits. He's in the movie, and but he's he's one of the 2 guys that made this happen, and I think it was his idea,
right,
initially to make this movie, and he got he was cooked up with this producer, and the 2 of them made it.
This is all after he passed away, right?
Yeah, because I think he died in 2009.
Yeah, right.
And so, cool. Yeah, they started this project about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
somebody,
that's great.
Willie was an amazingly talented guy in the days when he was like a real human being and playing. Then his image thing became him, and his girlfriend was named Benita. Okay. And I'm not sure what she changed her name to, because he was Willie DeVille, and when they both walked in, they looked like somebody from Mars into Turner River, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This has gotten crazier and crazier, and I don't want to be part of it. But
it's just right? it's those stories, right? The stories from the road or whatever they are. They're just the best stories you can have.
I've been a storyteller my whole life. Like when I'm playing down here, and I'm playing solo, or I have a hand drum player, and I've got a guy that's playing a little bit of saxophone at the time. But if you tell stories before a song, people will gather right into the song, and it really, really works well. Around the time that my grandson was about 4 or 5, and I was 50 or 60 something, I realized that he was never going to know me. By the time he was 21, and then my granddaughter Rosie came along, and she's 3 years behind him. And we have lived a very unique life. And I realized they were not going to know any of it.
Right.
5 years ago, I started to write a book. It's called The Journey. And I wrote it, and it's 58 stories from the time I was born till today, essentially. And the first line is, my mother scared me. She told me, I'm never going to be anything. I'm never going to get to go anywhere. I'm not going to have any money. I'm going to be poor. Get ready for it. Get used to it. That's who we are, and that's who we're stuck with.
Right.
And that twisted me up pretty good, to the point that I became the opposite. I hoarded money. But that's not the story. The story is I wrote all these stories so that they would know them.
Yeah.
Right.
They would know
cool
who we
idea.
were. Now we have a studio, and I have another question for you, Ed, on that. We had a studio, a Pro Tools studio in Connecticut, and we did 3 albums of our songs, all original stuff. And I put the book and the CDs in a trust, in a box, in a safety deposit box to be chained, blah blah blah. And when I'm gone, I want them to know, because the stories are good. You know, I mean they're pretty good. And I was singing. This is a strange thing. I was singing in Nashville about a year and a half ago on a project, and I'm talking to this producer of it, and I don't know him at all. And I'm telling him about the book, and it's on my computer because I'm still writing it. And he said, "Can you send me, a copy of that?" I said, "Well, yeah, I can. It's not done, but I'm getting close." And I sent it to him, and he calls me back like 3 days later. He goes, "There's a lady named Helen Miller, I think her name was, from HarperCollins who's going to call you." And I went, "All right. Who does she play for?" I don't. And
What band?
this woman calls me and she said, "We'd like to produce your book. We'd like to publish your book." I said, "It's not done." She goes, "Yeah, but I've read it. We'd like to publish it." And I went, "All right." I said, "It's for my grandchildren, and that's all I care about." She goes, "We can deal with it later." So to make a long story short, or a long story less long, they published the book.
Yeah.
And now it's on every website. If you go to Amazon and you put in The Journey, David Gunnup, bang. There's a $2.99 Kindle, $11.99 paperback, and a $21 hardcover.
Hardcover.
And we've sold 1,250. I don't know 1,250 people. But
That's just the beginning. It'll catch fire now, and
well, there's these 3 companies that have now come forward and said, we want to buy 650 each of the book to put them in stores all over the country.
Right. That's great.
cool.
But I'm like, what's wrong with this picture?
So I have 2 questions. The first question is, are you still paying for the safe deposit box? And is it still in there?
It's my original safe deposit box, by the way. There's other things in
There you go. The second question is Barry Urich in the book?
No,
Because
because it's the G-rated version.
Yeah,
Jam
that's right.
TV
Just
has the
grandchildren.
exclusive story.
Helen Miller, I think that
You like
almost-
the book for the gritty part.
This should be a Netflix series.
It's great.
And I want to pitch it. Give me 60 days. This was like last week. I said, go ahead. I don't care. And,
Great.
But then she said, do you have any better stories than this? And I went, this is written for my grandchildren. All the other stories are better than this. I had to filter out. My grandfather was a fucking,
You ever heard of Charles Bukowski? Yeah. Hunter Thompson.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm rambling like this, but
That's a great story. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
well, so guys, for $2.99 on Kindle, The Journey.
No, I'm buying the hardcover. I want to have the hardcover. I'm going to get it autographed.
That's a piece of cake, man. That's
Coming
I think
through town.
sales are going to skyrocket now once you've been exposed on Jam TV to the
That's
world.
right. Yeah, this
Yep.
is going to.
Worldwide.
Why do you think I came
Right.
on tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to send you a letter. They're going to be like, we saw you were on Jam TV. The deal's off.
Sorry, you're in with the wrong crowd.
We didn't realize who you were hanging out with. Yeah.
We're unpublishing the book.
Changed everything.
I can't believe I just
Took it down.
I'm so sorry, guys.
My God. No, it's super good. Super good.
So I should sing one song and get the fuck
Sing
out.
one song and we're going to call it. It's a 2-hour show tonight. It's great.
Yeah.
We haven't had a 2-hour show in a while, so super.
That's because I'm a mouth.
All right, sing us out. Sing us out.
I was trying to think of a song when Ed sent me the link today, and I sang almost, I don't know, over the last couple of 3 years. I've sang a lot of our songs. This song I wrote about a junior high school experience. It's one of the first or 5th songs I ever wrote. Can you guys hear that?
Yep.
Yep.
Off in the corner, dying to dance. Just a schoolboy, scared to death of a hot romance. Wait, sorry. Wait. Just a schoolboy. I haven't played it forever. Scared schoolboy. I think I'll sing another song.
We were talking about that. We were tonight. We had a segment where we talked about you get the song started and then you're like, nope, can't do it. It's over.
I haven't played the song in 20 years. I practiced it right before you guys called me in, and I had it. I don't have it anymore.
All right.
So this song is
Yeah.
about Irene Cara,
Okay.
the girl who was in
From
Fame.
Fame. Yeah.
We were partners at the Joe Papp Theater a very, very long time ago, and we were dancers. And her mother was a Puerto Rican crazy stage mother, and she said, and I think Irene was like 15, and I was like 19 at the time, and it was the Joe Papp's Public Theater, and she came up to me and said, "Touch my daughter, and I'll cut your balls off." You know.
Oh, and it's nice to meet you too.
Yeah, hey, no problems here, you know. And Irene is a beautiful girl, and she passed away recently. But
Oh.
Oh.
yeah, I did. I just heard about that. But anyway, this particular night, her mother came to me and she said, "Listen, Irene has a choreographer from Grease, the Broadway play,
Oh.
to see her and don't fuck it up." Right? And she went on to what she went on to, you know, and we killed it that night. But I wrote this. This guitar is not in tune, but it's okay. Here is a story about a lady I lost. She could dance, she could sing. She found her way to New York and she tossed her life into the ring. She was always Broadway fun. Well, the woman had such special needs. She longed to take a stage by storm, bring the crowd down to its knees. She's calling out her stage name. It's the only place that she has ever called her own. It's all that she has ever known. Facing the light, how could she lose tonight? They say she's New York news. Everybody say, boy, she's got that secret. She's fast, and she's born for the race. But I was in love, and I just couldn't keep her pace. She's got me calling out her stage name. Only place that she has ever called her own. All that she has ever known. Facing the light, how could she lose tonight? They say she's New York news. Oh, but if you're running that fast, sometimes you're gonna run all alone. Oh, I wouldn't ask you to love me now. I couldn't ask you to leave New York. No. So there is a story about the lady I lost. She could dance and she could sing. I had no idea but I was losing. She got me calling out her stage name. It's the only place she's ever called her own, all that she's ever known. Facing the light, how could she lose? Say bye, 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 baby, bye, bye, baby, no. At least I knew that one.
Nice. Really great.
Yeah, it was nice guitar playing.
Super good. That's a great song. Oh, I muted him. Oh my God, where is he? There he is. I unmuted everybody and I muted you.
Oops. Never got
works
that
for me.
mute button down. Yeah. You need to go. You need to buy a get.
Liked it, or it's another really old song, but I play that one still, so I knew it. The other one.
Yeah, right. That's a great song. That's very cool.
Thanks. Well, you know what? I play every Monday and every Wednesday down here. Come on down, and I got an extra room.
Very tempting. What? So wait. So when are you going to be in Connecticut, Dave Gunham?
I don't know. I'm here. I'm here till the season stops, and we're playing to full houses, so it's really, really great.
It's fun.
We're blessed.
Awesome.
It's. I don't need the money, but the other guys that are playing with me do.
Do you know Don DeStefano? Is he on your island?
No.
No.
Well,
Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Oh, he's a really great harmonica player, and he just posted today. Oh, I'm in the Virgin Islands playing a lot, and I'm like,
I think he goes to St. Thomas.
Yeah. It's a much bigger venue.
Yeah,
So
right.
4 or 5 cruise ships in there, and a town the same as ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Manhattan. You don't want to be there.
Right.
If you're going to come to the Caribbean, come to the American Virgin Islands first of all,
Right.
because they're American.
Right.
If anything goes wrong, you're still protected by
America.
America.
Right.
And all the shit that we're going through right
They
now.
can't search your bag just like for
That's
no
right.
reason.
Yeah, right. But seriously, St. Croix is a blend. St. Thomas is just tourist.
Yeah,
town.
it's
John
cruise
is-
ship. Yeah.
It's very close, so it's a ferry, and it's like a campsite.
Right.
St. Croix is the middle, and it's really really good island. And I've been
Yeah, I'd always had my sights on, when I lived on a boat for many years, I was like, one of these days I'm going to end up in Coral Bay, which is on the eastern side of St. John.
I know right where it is.
And so a friend of mine, Jim Dias, who's a boat guy, had a boat kind of sort of like mine, and a sailboat, and kept it there. And I was like envying him because he was a little ahead of me, a few years ahead of me, but he was like, already sort of semi-retired. He was go down there and he'd be on his boat, whatever. And then Hurricane whatever came through. You know which one. I don't remember which one.
It was Hugo in '89.
No. This was like in the last.
Irma.
Mary, was it Mary or the one that was like
Maria and Irma.
Yeah, Maria maybe.
2017.
Yeah, that was the one. And it
Yeah.
came through Coral Bay, and it took every sailboat the size of mine and threw it 200 feet up a mountain.
And there were 2 different hurricanes. They were side by side.
Right.
And Hurricane Irma, and I was here for that. Hurricane
Right.
Irma hit St. John, the BVI, St. John,
Right.
St. Thomas, because they're up in the chain.
Right.
We're like 40 miles down. We're the only island that's surrounded by the Caribbean.
So you didn't get the worst of it. They got the
we
worst
got
of it.
Maria, which was below it. And we
Yeah,
got
right.
slapped by that one. So everybody
It's
got
bad. Yeah, he said the first thing he did was he said, I'm gonna get on a plane and fly down there to like try to tighten my mooring lines and whatever. I'm like,
that's not gonna work
Yeah,
for
good
you.
luck
pal.
with that.
Yeah, the Navy had to bring a ship to pull them all off the mountain,
No,
So-
you don't understand the fury of nature.
No
until
good.
You're actually sitting inside it.
No good.
It was bad. Hurricane Hugo hit this island in '89 at 250 mile an hour winds.
Yeah, right. Craziness.
sustained for 8 hours. It's like an 8-hour tornado.
Craziness.
Just blew the place apart. And it took 4 years to get it back. And the island's never been the same, but I like it better now because it's way laid back.
Right.
It was almost like a St. Thomas kind of thing. Now it's really
Right.
back. I'm one of the bigger acts on the island, so that tell you.
There you go. All your competition got scared away, and you're still there.
Blown away would be better. Yeah, we're not going to the fuck back there. These guys are crazy.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I've talked.
We're cooked. No, that's it for GMTV. Good to see all you guys. Dave, and Will, and me.
You guys got to change your names to Dave, okay? So
Exactly.
Dave's not here.
Dave's not here, man. See you soon. All right.
Prime rib lovers, it's time to open wide. Really, really wide. Because you've never seen a side of beef, slow roasted, juicy, tender, perfectly marbled beef like the one they serve up in insane proportions at Bernie's Dining Depot in Chicago.